Good morning. It is a wonderful day here because we have in the house Freddie Rappina, who is a licensed financial advisor, and he is pretty much one of the leading experts in the country on retirement benefits for certain categories of employees. And we're going to be getting into that. Freddie, you are with OptaFinancial, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And you are licensed to operate in a few states, including Virginia.
Yes, that's right.
So, yeah. One of the things we're going to dig right into here, because we only have a few minutes to do this, and we want to make sure everybody gets all the information out of it they can. We want to start talking immediately about the differences between the kind of financial advisors that you run into out there who are, basically generalists. I mean, back in the day, that's what I was. Okay, I would take just about anybody in off the street that had money, and that's what mattered. But you have decided to focus.
Yeah, one of our focus are county employees, especially Fairfax County in Virginia. That's where I was a police officer for 20 years.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Yeah, so you were in the system.
Right, I was in the system.
Yeah,
right.
but Opta is not actually affiliated with, in any way, with Fairfax County, any of the retirements or anything like that,
No,
right?
we're not affiliated with Fairfax County, but the county, they have great people, great HR,
Sure.
great retirement specialists there. But what they can't do is they can't give specific financial advice. They're not allowed to do that. So we kind of take over that part.
Well, yeah, because
yeah,
nobody without a proper FINRA registration and license can give that kind of financial advice. So,
right,
so they have to bring in you in order to take that liability off their their plates.
Myself and my partner Marie Canterbury in Fairfax.
Oh, excellent!
She's awesome.
Interestingly, I lived in Fairfax County for a little while back in the '80s, and it was a little bit of a different place back then. But what I really want to address here is if you've got county employees, okay, what are some of the things that are just, big picture different about the way, say, a regular employee at, IBM or Raytheon or something like that versus a county employee? What is like the one biggest difference?
I would say the biggest difference is that they have a lot of them still have a defined benefit.
Defined benefit. Yeah, those were gone back when I was practicing. They were disappearing in the 80s. By the time I finished in 2008, there was nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
those didn't exist anymore.
They're fantastic, and being paid every month not to be a police officer is working out for me.
So just so people understand, what we're talking about is that old picture of the pension, the retirement thing, where you retire and you keep getting your income.
You keep a portion of your
or a portion of your income at least, for the rest of your life.
That's right.
And that, as I remember, was kind of a bit of an issue, though, because it was the rest of your life. What happens after that?
Okay, yeah. So the pension systems are typically, by definition, they're generally annuities. It's just
okay.
Annuity,
yeah,
so,
but they aren't annuitized through an insurance company or something where you could change it if you wanted to.
No,
it's just with the county, right?
Just with the county typically. Okay. And it's kind of a bet. You're betting you're going to live, and the county's betting you're going to die. Not in like a mean way. It's just that's how the system is set up.
Yeah,
right?
the longer you live, the more money they lose.
Right. Exactly. Well, yeah, the more money they pay out to you, right?
Well,
so yeah,
they think of it as a loss.
No. Fairfax County is a great county to work for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's good. Because I've seen some counties where they go out and they bump people.
No, not Fairfax County. Fairfax County is a great county to work for. Great. The pension system's awesome, and it's a very generous pension system. I can't say anything bad about the pension system. It's really good. Well, but from a financial standpoint, yeah, it's an annuity. It's a bet. You're betting you're going to live. And the longer you live, the more money you're paid. But if you pass away, if there's nothing for the spouse.
There's nothing for your spouse
unless you take a joint and survivor option.
And so they still have the joint survivor option as if it's an annuity.
That's right.
Okay, but they have that for their defined benefit pension plan.
Right.
And just briefly explain how that joint survivor option works?
Sure. Let's say the pension is X and you can take X, and when you pass away, that's it. There's no more payout. Or you can take Y, which will be a lower amount.
Like 80% or 70% or 90% or something.
It totally depends on what percentages you choose. There's going to be different options for you to choose.
Oh, wow. So it's not just like, okay, keep my spouse on the same level.
Well, no.
You know, if I die, my husband keeps getting the money. If I die, my wife keeps getting the money. Whatever, yeah.
But yes, that's gonna be the most costly out of the options. So,
okay.
So let's just say the reduction is $500 a month.
Yeah.
All right. So that reduction, you get paid for the,
right.
For the rest of your life. And then
yeah.
when you die, your spouse gets whatever the percentages that you chose.
So it's not just 100. Okay, so you can choose a lower amount.
Yes.
So but this is where, and now I see why the county is so specific on bringing in financial advisors, because you've got to sit down and do actual financial planning with these people so that they know exactly what percentage they need to be picking, what it is they need to be doing with these, dollars, these figures, these balances, because no two people are the same.
That's right.
Just to throw it out there, your differences might be, I don't know, the age of your spouse. Because if you have a spouse who's significantly younger than you,
yeah, the option is going to cost more.
Oh, wow. So they upcharge for that based on the age?
Well, they're using
not just you trying to do the mental calculation, but they're going to go in there and go, oh no, we have to do the mental, the calculations as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why we have access to the software. So when you put the spouse, have to put the spouse's date of birth in there to find out how much the joint and survivor option is going to cost. And it's no slight against Fairfax County. I know pensions work in general.
No. They all do work that way.
Yeah.
Real annuities, okay, with the major insurance companies all work the exact same way.
Right.
And so this is and it only makes sense because they have to charge for the risk they are assuming.
Yeah, they're assuming risk.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so that makes perfect sense. And
so the dynamic has always been: do you take the higher payout, and you're betting you're going to live forever, right?
Right.
Or you're betting your spouse is going to die first,
right.
one or the other, or do you purchase insurance policies with a similar amount with a reduction?
That's basically what you're doing with the reduction. Is you're buying another annuity,
right? You're buying
that pays out to your spouse. But so is your only option then, if you want your spouse to be covered, to pay the Fairfax County pension thing they're going to charge you?
No,
or is there something else they can do?
Well, you could take the single life annuity, so you get more of
right.
the money, and then you pay a premium for the insurance policies.
Oh, whoa. So you can do that yourself.
If you want
choose your insurance company, choose the death benefit, all that, plan that all out.
Yes.
And again, this is why it's so important to have a financial advisor who not only, is a financial advisor, can give you that advice, okay,
right,
but also knows this system has this software available so that you can figure out exactly where the break points are for these people.
It'll come down to options, right? The joint and survivor option is going to be great for a lot of people, and the insurance policies are going to be great for a lot of people. It just depends on who you are.
It will depend on their insurability, their age, all those things will all factor into it.
Well, yes, and of course, if you take the insurance policies out, your children or your heirs stay in the game, as I call it. Whereas if with the county's joint survivor options, once you're gone and your spouse is gone, there's no more payout for anybody else. So it's a way of kind of being more flexible, but it's not correct for everybody.
You can kind of, if you qualify and if you're insurable, because that's going to be a really important aspect of it. And a lot of people are a lot more insurable than they realize.
Yeah, oh yes.
You may get rated down a scale.
Well,
but you still can get the insurance.
Even still, people need to go through. We recommend everybody goes through the process, right? Go through the process of figuring out which option is going to be best for you. Don't listen to your friend. Don't listen to anybody. Just go through the process. See which one is going to be best for you. And we're fiduciary financial advisors, so we have to work in your best interest at all times, not the counties or even our own firms. So we have to make recommendations.
Okay. So typically, this is the only thing that a Fairfax County employee might have, or might they have some other pieces available to them?
Fairfax County employees have a 457. So in addition to their defined benefit, which is typically called a pension, right? They can save independent of that into a 457,
which is like a 401k for government employees,
right? But has a lot of rules that are dissimilar from a 401k. So a lot of different nuances. And for example, for public safety in Fairfax County, it is because the 457 is a non-qualified plan.
Okay.
Even though it's qualified money.
Right.
They can, if they had like a side business or had another employer, they actually can contribute to a 401k in addition to contributing to the 457 and put more than the...
If they only had a financial advisor who could help them with that. Yes, I totally get that one. These are important strategies to look at implementing. And so you've got things like that. Are there any other, like... Somebody mentioned something about a drop program.
Yeah, the drop program.
What is that?
It's pretty awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great program. You retire for the sake of the pension system, pretty much only, and you continue to work your same job for the same salary for 3 years. Now your retirement check, instead of it going home to you, it's being held, and then at the end of the 3 years, they give you a lump sum, which you have to decide what you're going to do with it.
Hold on a minute. So they pay you your normal salary to keep working,
right?
But then they take your pension amount and stick that aside for you?
Yes.
So it's like giving 3-year notice, and they give you...
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Whoa. So, I mean, 3 years of well, it's not your full income because it's a percentage of whatever you're making, right? Yeah. So, it might be 80% of your income or whatever the pension amount is.
It's actually a calculation in Fairfax, not just a percentage. So you have to do like the whole math out to see.
Yeah, but again, that's why it's important to have somebody there to help you with it. But then that can give you a lump. So it just... So
the lump. Yeah, the lump is the big issue. Like, what are you going to do with the lump? Are you going to...
Now, does that lump come out as tax deferred? Is it taxable income? How does it appear?
It's pre-tax dollars, right? So if you take if you take the full distribution in a cash and check, you're going to be making a generous donation to the U.S. government.
Okay. And so do you have ways of maneuvering that around so that it works with that? So I guess what I'm hearing is that they don't have to take it all at once?
Right. You can roll it over if you choose to do that, and it will stay pre-tax. And when you take it out...
You can roll it over into an IRA or something like that?
That's right.
Whoa, that's huge, allowing the rollover like that.
Yeah, you can roll it over, or you can put it into the pension, and it'll bump the pension up, but you still have the issue with the single life annuity or joint survivor. So there's pros and cons to both routes.
All the way around it, yeah.
There is not one right answer for everybody. We just encourage everybody... Find out.
Well,
know what the options are. Find out what's best for them.
This is huge because what we're talking about here are strategies and tactics that you need to be beginning, 2, 3, 4, 5 years before you're actually planning on, turning in the keys and, getting the cake.
Yeah, that's correct. We encourage people to actually practice retirement, practice getting that, lower amount and saving the difference and seeing how your lifestyle is going to change.
And you can be there working this with them,
right? Okay,
helping them to understand and feel how these things are going to work. Because knowing how to live on, whatever the percentage is, I'm just going to pick 75% of your money. Knowing how that feels is going to be really important. I mean, I know. We used to do calculations that, you don't need dry cleaning anymore, and you don't need this, and you don't need that. Yeah, but you know what? You need cruise money.
Yeah.
You need a lot more vacation money.
I agree. The fun stuff is very important.
I spend a lot more money on the weekends than I do on the weekdays. So that really sort of changed the dynamic that I was telling people, that oh, no, you need less in retirement. Oh, heck no.
Yeah, and the other idea is that people may have a misconception of is that taxes are going to go down in retirement. They're likely not going to go down in retirement. They may, but they're likely not. A lot of deductions that you had while you were working are...
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the mileage and the...
No, I was thinking more like your kids.
Oh, yeah, those two.
They grow and they eventually move out. And even if they don't move out and they're in your basement, there are no longer tax deductions. So maybe your mortgage is paid off and, all those types of things.
All those things are now disappearing because you're hitting that age where your taxes are actually climbing, not falling.
Right. So it's something to plan for.
That is exactly the opposite. But again, that's why people call you in.
Yeah, okay? Well, we love working
this is the kind of thing
Yeah.
Man, so we're looking at this now. So we just went over the drop. What happens? I know there used to be accommodations made for your benefits pay, your holiday pay, whatever those things.
Yeah. So the leave payout's another question we get We get a lot.
Oh, leave
right?
payout.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
all right,
we
all
call
right.
it leave payouts. Like, it's
Okay.
basically accumulated hours that you didn't take for a vacation or whatever, and that's going to be paid out in a check. But you can defer it into your 457. You have to have room in the 457 to do it, so there's some strategies there. So there's a lot of things that are just very, very indigenous to Fairfax County, and that's where we really focus, our knowledge to know those ins and outs. There's a lot of great financial advisors out there, and as you have the background, but
but having the background I had, and I worked with a lot of doctors and lawyers, none of this
Right,
ever
it's
came into
specific.
play, and I would have to have learned it from scratch.
Right, so it's specific.
In order to help, and you are already light years ahead because, interestingly enough, didn't you work for the
Yeah,
county?
that was a police officer there. Yeah, so that's
You're a
I was
police
I was
officer?
immersed in it, so I learned all these rules and all these tidbits and all these strategies, not just as a financial advisor, but over my career actually working there, and I hired over now the who used to be the deferred comp rep, the 457 rep, to the firm. So, and she was there for 9 years. So
So you brought her into OptaFinancial as well.
That's correct.
You,
So-
you are really doubling down on Fairfax County.
Well, it's a lot of employees, and so there's a lot of service that
And
needs
they
to be had.
deserve the best representation when it comes to, they've got to make these decisions. And these are not small decisions. These are
and
huge.
and a lot of them are irrevocable. Once you make a decision, you can't.
Well,
change it.
let's back up and let's address that again. When you go to retire, I just want to state this as I understand it.
Right.
Okay, and that is that the benefit plan you pick, whether it's joint survivor, whatever it is, that you can't change that once you make that.
No.
Once you sign that.
No, and whom you're married to at the time of your retirement is the person that you're married to for the joint survivor. So even if you got divorced later on down the road, your now ex-spouse would get the benefit after you passed away, not your new spouse who you
Or your kids, or
remarry,
anybody
your
else
kids,
that you
right.
care about. So yeah, this is a major.
So yeah, it's one of the biggest decisions.
Major consideration. Well, I mean, it goes beyond that. I mean, you got to have one heck of a crystal ball
Right.
if you think you're going to be able to sign off on something now that in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years is still going to be exactly as you planned it. I mean, raise your hand if everything you're doing today is exactly as you planned it 15 years ago.
Well, and
Nobody? Got no takers out there? No, I didn't think so.
if you knew when you were going to die, it would make the choices a whole lot simpler. But
You got to know who you're going to be married to when you're going to die.
Well-
Jiminy Christmas.
But it's like I said, it's an important financial decision, one of the biggest they're ever going to make. So we want to make sure that they know all the options, all the pros and cons. There's a lot of different opinions and different ways people can go, but we want to make sure they're educated. That's the most important part.
Wow. Now within Fairfax County, okay, you have obviously different kinds of employees.
That's right. And there's different
Okay.
rules for different systems. There's actually 3 systems in Fairfax
What are
County.
they?
Well, you have the general county. That's one system. You have the uniform system, which is like the fire department and the sheriff's office. And then you have the police system, which is completely independent of, separate from the other ones.
Well-
So they have different rules within each system. And
Yeah. And you only know which one of those 3.
we know all of them.
Oh, when?
So it's,
Okay, that was a loaded question. All right, that was just like right there. Like,
So when you retire, your age can matter because if you're public safety, those rules can be different than if you're a general accounting worker, right? So
Wow.
So depending on what age you retire,
yeah,
it also matter.
and the age of your retirement adjusts these plans something fierce, because obviously even just waiting 3 years can make a huge difference. You could get an extra, $100,000 or something, just like payout right there in your IRA.
Or you can work longer, and that's another thing people have to consider, because if you're working longer and you could have been getting paid the pension, how does that work out, right? Because you're basically not taking the annuity, and you're continuing to pay into it, and you're getting older, which means you're getting closer to death. So there's always this dynamic of, should I work longer, or should I retire and take the pension and get another job? So
Right.
there's a lot of things that go into it, and then again, not one.
And
right
so
answer
much of
for
it is
everybody.
about your life's, where you are in life. at that time that you're making these decisions. Because if you're retiring at 50 because you're a police officer or a fireman, you've probably still got college to pay for your kids. You got weddings to pay for. You've got all these things you still have to pay for, and you got to plan for those things.
And you're young, and you're able to do all those fun things that you still
so you're more likely to break your back skydiving.
that costs money.
Yeah.
And again,
and you're going to live longer.
Yeah, you're going to live.
So that entire concept of budgeting, it's like I can retire on $5,000 a month. Well, let's look at what that's worth at 7% inflation. Okay,
Yeah,
in 10 or 15 years, that's going to be like trying to retire on Social Security alone.
It comes down to really the education. So like we educate the employees. Fairfax does a great job of giving out their own classes, and we encourage people to take those classes at the government center at the retirement building. It's just learn all the information you can, so you're going to make the best decision for you and your family.
Yeah, you know what? But I'm going to tell you, you are guaranteed to hit information overload.
Oh, it's
you
a lot.
As a consumer.
Yeah.
I can absolutely guarantee that one thing, and we don't like to talk about guarantees when it comes to financial performance, but I can tell you there's a guarantee when it comes to financial information, and that is there's too much.
Well,
there is too much, and to try and you've got to have the best data. So I don't know if very many people are running around with mortality tables in their pockets and going, oh, I have 17.2 years left I have to plan for.
Right.
Because then what happens? My phrase was, what happens if you screw up and live?
Well, that's the issue, right? With the joint survivor option, you're actually betting that you're going to die early in your retirement, and your spouse is going to live to an awesome biblical age, and get a lot more money. So the problem is, if you take the joint survivor option, it's not if you die early; it's if you live and continue making those payments,
right?
Or not getting that money every single month. Now you're down money at a casino. 30 years later, you're down, whatever. You could be down hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now, let's say you passed away first. Now your spouse has to live long just to get your money back, because now you're down money.
Yeah.
But hey, it's different options, and people have to be happy and understand and accept the risks, because there's pros and cons to all the options. So we just encourage people to find out what they are, and of course we're the
and I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in here. Ready for this one? Because the other thing that comes into play here is your Social Security benefits. Because if you're retiring, there's so many different options on how you can take those. And how those can play into this plan, and what you could use that funding for if you need to, because and there's just so many pieces. But because you do this all day, every day, you have the wherewithal and the experience to really sit back and go, okay, this is this kind of situation. This might be best for you. So let's look at where the options fall in these things.
Right. Social Security is an animal unto itself. And there's even in the current state, there's the windfall elimination provision, which basically says, hey, you're getting a pension check. You don't deserve. You don't need as much money as other people, so we're going to lower your Social Security amount. So
you're welcome.
Yeah. Hey,
fortunately, they charge you less, right?
Well,
they don't.
Well, some of the employees haven't paid into Social Security in a long time, so it depends on which plan you're in. But that's there, right? So if you get a job, you get another career after you retire from Fairfax County. What does that look like? Where's your Social Security going to look like afterwards? A really good plan, in my opinion, is just don't count on Social Security. Just plan it as if it's not going to be there, and then when that check comes, you'll be like, oh, bonus money.
That is, but knowing that you can afford to do that is job one.
Right.
And being able to do the financial projections. There's a lot that goes into that software.
Yep.
And there's a lot that goes into finding all the right numbers to put into that software, including, inflation calculations and all that, because I assume that since I was in there, that software has become even more sophisticated for doing those kinds of projections.
Well, there is a cost of living benefit.
Yeah.
on the pension, right?
Mhm.
But but you're talking about your 457, or whether or you have your IRAs. Inflation, of course, is going to be
Wow.
heavy in there.
So, and right there, I mean, you just brought up there is a COLA provision,
Mhm.
okay, for the pensions.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's like I
that's
said,
at least a
Fairfax County
little
is great.
helpful.
It's
That
fantastic.
is
Great
phenomenal
pension,
because
great
I
pension
mean most
system.
of them are just flat. So it sounds like Fairfax has got a really good program for its county
It
employees.
does.
But it also sounds like it's got a lot of details that you need to master.
That's yes.
Yeah.
It's very generous. Great pension system. It's just there's a lot of rules, a lot of strategies that you should
Yep.
really understand and pick which one's best for you.
So the best thing for people to do is to go ahead and schedule a call with you or someone in your office to go over this.
Yeah, myself or
Yeah.
Marie Canterbury. We're the two Fairfax County
Right, and
experts.
we'll have the link up for that, so that you can go ahead and book your appointment and get this information that you may need, that you will need in order to retire successfully.
Right, that's our goal for you to be able to retire and be happy, and or do whatever
Yeah.
you want to do afterwards.
Well, thank you very much for being here this week. I
Thank you.
really appreciate it. Take care.
Have a good day.